We're good? Okay. So I'm going to call this meeting of the Waushara County Planning and Zoning Committee to order. This meeting will begin with a public hearing. Anyone other than the applicant or their representative wishing to speak must register and submit the registration slip to the zoning administrator at this time. Following the hearing, we'll conduct our monthly business meeting, at which time we're going to vote on the applications. You may stay and hear how the applications are decided, or you may leave following the hearing. The applicant and town board will be sent a copy of tonight's decisions. Any other person wishing to receive a copy of a decision can sign a sheet on the table at the front of the room. Those of you wishing to know immediate knowledge or wishing immediate knowledge of the outcome of these proceedings may call the zoning office tomorrow morning. The procedure we will follow for the hearing, each application is, after each application is read, the applicant, their agent, or a representative will be asked to present their application, followed by any questions or comments from the committee. Then all correspondence will be read. Then others in favor of the application will have a chance to speak. Anyone objecting will then have a chance to speak. I will then ask for a summary of the committee's field observations and any staff comments. Finally, the applicant will be allowed a chance for a short rebuttal if they wish. Anyone wishing to speak should use the microphone and state their name and direct their comments to the committee. I ask that all testimony be kept brief, no more than 5 minutes, and to the point. If you are testifying as a nearby landowner, please tell us where your property is located relative to the subject property. Tonight's hearing will be recorded, and the recording will become part of the record. Comments that are based on hearsay or secondhand information, as well as slanderous or prejudicial remarks, will be ruled out of order. The committee has looked at all the properties, and the record will reflect these observations. Any person affected by an administrative decision of this committee has 10 days from the filing of tonight's decisions to make an appeal to the circuit court. The county assumes no liability and makes no warranty as to the legality of any construction commenced prior to the expiration of this 10-day period. Now I'll introduce the committee. Down at the end we have Pat King, and then we have Mike Kapp, we have Jerry Lauer, we have Carl Griesar, and we have Cindy Rettler, and she's taking the minutes. This is Todd Waller, and I'm the chair, George Peterman. So, tonight, first on the agenda, we have application by Michael Culligan, Wild Rose, Wisconsin. Has made an application for a zone change in accordance with sections 58-131 through 138, 58-451, 58-721, 58-724, parent 12 of the Waushara County Zoning Code from AG General Agricultural to CS Commercial Service to expand the limits of the existing mini storage facility located directly north and west of the proposed parcel, with proposed construction of two 45-foot by 131 foot and one 26-foot by a 240-foot mini storage units. The location is an approximate expansion of 125 feet to the north and expansion of 125 feet to the west of an existing 225-foot by 225-foot CS zoned portion of land on an existing 6.05 acre parcel, including Outlot 2 of certified surveyed map number 2919, being part of the southeast quarter of the southwest quarter and part of the southwest quarter of the southeast quarter, section 12, T20NR10E, Town of Rose, W7492, County Road P. Mr. Culligan, if you want to step up to the microphone. Just state your name for the record and just give the committee a brief overview of your project.
What's that?
Just give the committee a brief overview of your project into the microphone for the record, please.
One for sure building, 45 by 131. The other building is a possibility of a year from now, like not this summer, but the following summer.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we were out there yesterday.
Right.
So we saw two buildings as they stood today. And so you want to construct one other building
Yeah,
that,
right, showed you to the,
Yep.
to the west side there?
right. And we just want to make sure that we have everything on the record because
Yeah.
this is all being recorded.
Okay.
So, and so this becomes a matter of the public record. So the one building you're constructing to the west is
Yep.
going to mirror those other buildings,
Right.
be identical to?
Identical, yeah,
Yep. And that's the only building that you're building to the west then?
right, yeah.
Okay. And then you said that in the future, there may be an additional building?
Yeah, 26 by, I think, 240
Okay, okay,
in the back,
In the
with all the
back.
doors facing forward. But
okay, okay. Does the committee have any questions for Mr. Culligan?
I noticed there was you said that you had tore down a house.
What's that?
You had tore down a house?
Yeah.
To put it there, and there's a well there. How were you gonna handle that well?
I can't quite hear it.
How are you gonna handle the well that, is it existing there?
Gravel?
The well,
The
The
well,
well's gonna stay.
okay.
We're gonna be about 5 feet away from it. And, Tim Jinks, well driller, he's gonna build a ramp system on it, like you see at gas stations, you know? So it's sealed. We're gonna hopefully save the well.
And if I could, Pat, in your packet, there is a site plan that shows locations of all the buildings, orientations and so forth, and it's the third building over the well, which was identified out in the site. It was the blue pipe sticking up
Yeah.
out of the ground.
Got my hearing aids today.
Oh,
now, there's two existing buildings,
Yeah.
correct? And I'm just looking at this site plan, and I'll
Right.
refer.
Yep.
So we're showing four buildings.
there's one that he has noted as future or possible.
Okay, I thought the one in the back, so you have two future or possible buildings.
Well, yeah, one for this summer.
Yep, and so, just so you can see, so we have these two existing,
Yeah, that one way on the end here,
yep,
we just put that in there for the distance.
okay.
That'll probably never happen.
So this is immediate,
Yep,
this could happen, this could happen.
Right.
Okay,
Yep. And just for the record too, should the rezoning go forward, they would have approval under the commercial zoning district, and that to go ahead, that would then become a permitted use, and he would just have to submit for a land use plan, if you so choose in the future.
and Kyle,
Yep, Kutcher.
he said, why don't you just go all the way and get it done, you know?
Yep.
So that's why that fourth building was put in there.
Okay.
It was just put in there to fill out the paper.
okay. Okay. And does the committee have any other questions for Mr. Culligan? Okay, you can have a
Okay,
seat.
thank you.
All right. And do we have any correspondence?
We do. We received, County Zoning Office received an email on Monday, February 10th from Kathy Vandecastle, the clerk for Town of Rose, that basically stated, "Hi Todd, the Town of Rose Board met tonight and approved the zone change from Mike Culligan from AG to CS. Feel free to contact me with any questions and/or concerns you may have. Thank you, Kathy Vandecastle, clerk, Town of Rose."
Okay. And do we have anyone to speak in favor?
We have one registrant, Cheryl Olson, registered to speak in favor.
Actually, that was not on the right case, that was on Paul's.
Oh, I apologize. Sorry about that. Nope.
Okay, so
No one others. I apologize.
no one to speak in favor? Okay. Anyone objecting that needs to speak?
No, nobody,
Anyone here to speak information or for information only?
no other registrants.
Okay, and then staff comments.
Okay. As stated in the report you have before you, the applicant, Michael Culligan, is requesting a zone change from AG General Agricultural to CS Commercial Service to expand the limits of an existing mini storage facility located along the north side of County Road P. In terms of history, the original two-unit, and I should actually say the 225-foot by 225-foot portion of the property zoned CS was originally rezoned back in November of 2013. It was shortly after that that the applicant pulled his first land use permit for the first building, and then in June of 2017, a second land use permit was then issued for the second building. Committee visited the property at the recent on-site on Wednesday, February 19th, 2020, and believed that the zone change was appropriate at this location and made a logical expansion of an existing mini storage operation. The committee's only comments was that all applicable permits, including land use permits, be obtained. As we have witnessed, there has been an ever-increasing demand for these mini storage facilities in the county. The proposed operation appears to be well laid out and has adequate separation between buildings, and it appears to have adequate on-site maneuverability. Staff has reviewed this request and believes the zone change and expansion to be a logical expansion of an existing service-oriented business, which is designed to meet the needs of the neighboring population. While the Planning and Zoning Committee will be making a formal recommendation on this request later in the evening, staff is recommending approval of the zone change request from AG General Agricultural to CS Commercial Service to expand the limits of an existing mini storage facility located along the north side of County Road P, subject to the conditions listed within your report.
And then, Mr. Culligan, is there anything more that you'd like to add or any corrections to anything you heard?
I think that pretty much covered.
Okay, all right. All right, then we're gonna move on to the next application, and that is one submitted by Paul Olson, Watoma, Wisconsin. Mr. Olson has made an application for a zone change in accordance with sections 58-131 through 138, 58-451, 58-571 through 58-574 of the Waushara County Zoning Code from AG General Agricultural to RM Residential Multifamily to convert an existing 330-foot by 82-foot school to a multifamily dwelling consisting of up to 13 apartments with proposed construction of a 48 by 48 detached 8-car garage. Location, an approximate 5-acre portion of land on an existing 20-acre parcel known as the east 1/2 of the northeast 1/4 of the northeast 1/4, section 35, T20N R12E, Town of Saxville, N5275, County Road, Double N. Mr. Olson,
Yes, I'm Paul Olson.
and if you could just go through a description of your project for the committee.
We're looking at remodeling the Pleasant View School into up to 13 apartments. Most of them will be one-bedroom apartments. And our thought process with the gym there is to use it as a community room.
A community room for
people that want to.
residents and non-residents of the
Right.
proposed project?
Correct.
Okay, okay. And I know, we were out there yesterday, couldn't really quite drive in, wasn't plowed, but I don't think that's your responsibility yet either.
Not yet.
So, but one of the questions that I had brought up, and as we were discussing things yesterday, is we're wondering if there was any informal survey or sort of a need-based sort of evaluation done on the area to, because, you know, that buildings, you know, I guess to you know, be a little blunt, is in the middle of nowhere, but that there's actually a need for 13 apartments in that area.
We currently have 7 different parties looking at renting apartments there.
Okay, all right, so about half of them.
Correct.
You have, you know, interest at least
Correct.
in renting out. Okay, and what would be the projected price point of?
Well, our architect's designing it right now, and the big question is the heating and air conditioning part of it. In our other rental units, most of them, we include the heat in the rent. This facility, we might include all utilities in the rent, and we're probably looking at in the $600 to $700 a month range for a single bedroom.
And you operate other rental units as well, or
Yes,
multifamily, or?
Yes, we did the Auroraville School. There's
Okay.
4 apartments there. The Auroraville Store, we did 3 apartments there.
And those have been going on for a long time?
Yes.
Committee have any questions?
Why do you pick 8-car garage instead of 13 if you're gonna have 13 apartments?
Because that's what'll probably fit on the parking lot to the south, and depends when we get, if we do 13, we'd be coming back to do a garage on the north end of the school, because there's a entrance on the north, there'd be a firewall, so that's why that is.
If I could.
So, will these units be ADA accessible?
The state requires certain number of them have to be once you get over 3 apartments.
Okay.
There definitely is a need in Sheriff County for rental apartments. I just had a question about, is it gonna have an internal hallway, or?
Yes, the hallway that's there will be the internal hallway, and then the access. The apartments will probably have a access door to the outside on the east and west for each apartment also.
I was glad to hear that you were gonna have the gymnasium in there yet for them to use, because I know that down in Berlin, they did that with theirs, and people there are in the gym continuously down there, so that's a
Well,
super.
there's really not any place out in our part of the county when you get up there. If you want to have a bridal shower or a baby shower or something, where people can come and meet.
If I could, Paul, I have a question for you. In going through the various drawings and the plans that you submitted, it just seems that there's some items I just would like clarified. On site plan sheet 2.1, it's the overview of the entire parcel. It identifies a number of like potential or future plans for certain activities, potential sports fields, potential garden plots. There's also, proposed wetland agricultural area. Who is that going to be part of this development, or who's going to be doing those types of
That's our
endeavors?
architect put that in there.
Okay.
We do have, if people residents want to have a garden, there's land there for a garden. There's basketball hoops, and you know what a school is. So there's playground equipment to the back.
Okay, so we're still looking at just rezoning that portion
Right, just
around the
that.
building, all the rest will stay AG?
Correct.
Okay.
One other quick question with apartment buildings. It's been a long time since I've been in an apartment building, but usually there's some form of on-site storage for the people in the apartments. Is that part of the plan as well?
There's some rooms that'll be storage for folks, and then the detached 48 by 48 will have storage for 8 of the apartments.
Like bikes or
Even like
kayaks or?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Any more questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, do we have any correspondence?
We do. I had some conversations with the chairman of the town of Saxville, John Van Amerongen, sorry, I always screw up his name, but had some conversations with him. One of the things that we had concern with originally when this came in is that, we obviously look at any type of rezoning, we always go back and look at the comprehensive plan to see if the proposal is in accordance with that. In this instance, the town plan actually calls for a future development area, which is more towards the intersection of A and W. And so that was an initial concern of ours. However, John, I know, was approached by Paul. Paul has also gone to the town meeting. and it was recommended out of the committee or out of the board that the town was in favor of the proposal. I did receive a email kind of summarizing this from Teresa, and I'm going to botch this name too, Shabluski, the town of Saxville clerk, which basically says, "Good morning, Todd. Per my conversation with Mary this morning, she said you agreed it would be just fine if I emailed this note from Chairman John to you instead of a formal letter being prepared and mailed. The board was in agreement that the changes Mr. Paul Olson is seeking for the former Pleasant View School would be fine and gave their blessings for him to move forward with your office and get on your March agenda to hear his request for the proposed zoning change and renovations to the building. If you have any questions, you have both of our emails now. Thank you so much for your time, Teresa Shabluski."
And now, do we have anyone to speak in favor?
We do. Cheryl Olson is registered to speak in favor.
Did I check that one, or did I check I'm in favor but didn't want to speak?
Oh, I apologize. You know, if I read from left to right, top to bottom, yes. Cheryl Olson registered to speak in favor, but not to speak. In favor.
Yeah,
Okay.
we understand. Okay. All right, so do we want to check all these real quick? Make sure?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so do we have anyone objecting that wishes to speak?
We do. We have 5 registrants, and if I could, I'm just going to go through. Josh Beberliska, registered to speak in opposition of the application.
All right, Josh?
My name's Josh Gabrilska. I'm probably the closest house to where the school is now.
Where are you located?
We are located just southeast of the school on the corner down there. And we built a new house there 4 years ago. And it's our family farm. Our land actually borders up to the school land. You know, and I agree with the gentleman here saying that there is a need for housing in Waushara County. I do not agree that this is the area for that. You know, we're a pretty rural farm community that, you know, it's just a wide open area. It's not, I don't think, set up for an apartment building. You know, whether something else is going to come in there, I really don't know. But you know, it's a farm community where when I think of an apartment building, I think of something that's close to, you know, grocery stores and banks and, you know, restaurants and things like that. Where here you're 14, 15 miles to anything to where you can go to have access to those things. So in my viewpoint, I don't think it's the right place for this project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a Tim Mannion to speak in opposition of the application.
Hello, my name's Tim Mannion, and last Monday, I made an offer to purchase the school, not because I need to develop it or want to develop it, but to keep it out of development. And my idea was to make storage of it or whatever, but anything that would actually benefit the community. In this case, I think it's just the wrong location for this kind of project. And the reason it is, I own land just to the west of it, quite a bit of land, and I've been buying farms in the area and cleaning them up and creating more green space, keeping things in farm fields since 1984. And the applicant has a track record, a successful track record, with renovating school buildings like in Auroraville, but this is not Auroraville, this is Pine River. And Pine River is a rural area that this is right smack dab in the middle of a wildlife corridor. Right, it would be west of this school is an environmentally sensitive area with wetlands, ponds, ditching, marshes, woodlands, and really this is the quality of life out there. And when you put in 13 apartments that are 1 bedroom, who's going to rent those apartments? Not the elderly, because there's no services close by. If it's a Section 8 where it's low income, well, Section 8 are people who just got out of prison.
They're people who have drug problems. They're sexual predators. They're pushed into different communities, and all they do is look for a landlord that has an opening or availability for their voucher. And I talked to 2 chiefs of police today in different cities about Section 8 low-income housing and just regular housing, and they said, you know, that's out in the middle of nowhere. You have no services. And if you do have people that are renting there and there's problems, police problems, we don't have a police force in Pine River or the town of Saxville. And so what do? Do you go to Waushara County and overburden the budget on Waushara County that from Wautoma 30 miles away? We're at the end of the spectrum, at the end of the county for any kind of reaction. So when you look at the comprehensive plan, it really was developed on the premise that everybody in that community does not want to endorse multi-housing because of the quality of life. It's not in there in 2009, and it's not projected for the future. So I think this may be a good idea somewhere. It's absolutely the wrong idea for this location. And I put my money where my mouth is. Like I said, last week, I put an offer in to purchase the building, and it was rejected, and I got no counteroffer. So that's how serious my neighbors and I are. And some of my neighbors have been there for 3 and 4 and 5 generations. And when people hunt right behind the school on their own property, they don't want to see 5 and 6 people on 4-wheelers or dirt bikes zipping around. They don't want to have potential renters where you run into dog problems, trespassing, whatever. So what I'd like to know, which we haven't discussed, is this project being supported by the HUD program or WIDA, or because they're 1-bedroom apartments, will they allow Section 8 vouchers? So at the very least, I think we're moving way too fast on this project. According to the comprehensive plan, the town board is required to approve the project, but they had no town meeting, and they had no public notice or input from the community. So I think that's critically important. So I ask at the very least, you table a decision on this matter or rule against it, because you'll find that everybody in this surrounding community is adamantly against a multi-housing development. Thank you very much.
Okay, we have a registrant, Tim Hansen, registered only in opposition to the application but wishes not to speak. We have another gentleman, Jeff Burbliska, wishes to speak in opposition to the application.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Gabrilska. I am a landowner. Actually, my 40-acre parcel abuts the current Pleasant View property. So I do have probably the closest land ownership of any representative here. I will say that I simply underscore the arguments that have been given, especially as the chairman opened with this evening. I am one who has lived there all of my life, and as well as been mentioned before, I don't really see the fit. Certainly I would love to see the building utilized for something other than just going to waste, but with the infrastructure as it is and the location, as my son mentioned, we are a distance from available services. As well, in 1977, I built my home within eyeshot of the school. And I enjoy getting up each morning and looking out there and seeing, as Mr. Mannion mentioned, that pristine environment. I'm not trying to be stereotypical, biased, prejudiced, but I am concerned as to the type of clientele that will rent in that particular area, in that location. I would very much like to see it maintained, as again was mentioned before, in more of its original state than a developmental project. I just don't see the bottom line is the fit that goes there. So I am in opposition to this particular project. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.
And we have one last registrant, Matthew Hansen, registered to speak in opposition of the application.
So I'm Matthew Hansen. I'm a landowner in the township of Saxville, near the Saxville dump. I'm going to be speaking on my behalf and Hansen Farms, who is also a landowner in that neighborhood. My dad and my brother couldn't be here today because obviously they got farming operations to attend to. So we own property directly to the east of the school, right across the road, several hundred acres. We also own a property to the west, 80 acres, which is only 20 acres away from the school. There's 20 acres between us. We also manage and farm Kabrilska's property, which is bordering to the south, borders the school property. We farm that operation there too. So, you know, a couple of things we're concerned about is, you know, manure complaints. We spread manure on all those properties. We already get complaints from the school when they're in session. Now we're going to have this year round. You know, we're not going to change and impact, it's going to impact our farming operations. We're going to continue to do what we need to do as a business, but we expect complaints from this. You know, obviously to me, maybe not everybody, this $600 to $700 a month is a low income property. You know, with low income, like Tim mentioned, brings crime, brings all kinds of stuff to the neighborhood. I don't feel that that's fit for that neighborhood. All of the people in that neighborhood have lived there for many generations, farmed for many generations, and they're gonna, you know, I don't think a lot of the people there want to, at least speaking on Hansen Farms and the Hansen family, we don't want that there. Increases traffic on the roads with our farming operations and the large equipment and it being hilly and stuff like that, increases dangers and risks to people operating machinery, operating cars in that neighborhood. I mean, if you pull off of 31st and Badger there on that County M with that hill, when we pull equipment out of there, people flying down that road, it's going to increase the traffic. They're going to have to maybe do something there. I mean, people are going to, we already have near accidents there on a regular basis, moving equipment in and out of there. So, I mean, it's just a bad corner. I mean, somebody's life will probably be taken. I know my family doesn't want that to happen. You know, machinery is getting bigger and bigger every single day, and that's the stuff we use. So yeah, that's going to impact our farming operations. Plus, we own the trail that goes right off of County M next to the school. If this is going to be apartment complexes and housing, we're going to probably have to gate that off so people can't be driving down that trail because we know we're going to already have problems with traffic down there. We already do at times. It's going to increase. That's going to cost us money to gate that off. That's all going to also going to cost our business more money. Having operators getting out of equipment, opening that gate to go down there, spread manure, do what they have to do, get back in the tractor, close the gate behind them. You know, it's going to cost us money and man labor. So it is going to have a huge impact on wildlife down there. I mean, we have wildlife, and the family likes to hunt and enjoys that every season, getting together and going and hunting on that property, along with our several other 100 acres that we own in the neighborhood, and it's going to impact that. You know, we're going to have a lot of impact to that area and wildlife movement and habitat. So we're not in favor of this. I hope we can be heard. We own a lot of acreage right directly in that neighborhood. And speaking with my dad and uncle and brothers, none of us are in favor of this. Thank you.
All right, is anyone here to speak for information only?
We have nobody else registered.
Okay, so then staff comments.
Okay. As similar as before, you have a staff's report in front of you. The applicant, Paul Olson, is requesting a zone change from AG, General Agricultural, to RM, Residential Multifamily, to convert an existing school, formerly known as the Pleasant View School, to a multifamily apartment building consisting of up to 13 dwelling units, along with the construction of a detached garage on an approximate 5-acre portion of a 20-acre parcel of land located along the west side of County Road NN. The county maintains very little information on the original school. The only record that we do have pertains to an older pouch system being added to our scheduled maintenance program, and that was done in 2018. I had taken it upon myself to contact Craig Hayes. He's the district administrator for the school district offices. I just wanted to call him and ascertain a little information about the school, the history and so forth, find out a little bit about the sale. We were informed that the building has not been used as an elementary school, for the past few years due to a decline in enrollment. However, it's been periodically used for overflow storage by the school district. It has only recently been put on the real estate market. And to date, just to let you know, the county zoning office, we've received 3 inquiries within the last year from potential purchasers with various proposals ranging from multi-use retail and manufacturing to quasi-public, private residential, recreational, to the request that we have before us for multiple family. This is the first such proposal that has gone to actual application. The committee has visited the property at their recent on-site on Wednesday, February 19th, and was slightly concerned over the appropriateness of the multifamily residential zoning at this location. The committee, however, did point out the fact that if no action was taken, the county and the school district will end up with a vacant building at that location. The committee did inquire as to whether or not the applicant has conducted any type of research to determine a need for apartments in and around the area, which was basically surmised by Paul. Staff originally expressed reservations as well over the zone change request due to the fact that the town comprehensive plan directs any new residential development to a residential growth area located in more or less the development core of the town. However, it has always been a position of the county to support the desires of the town. And based upon the recent letters and conversations that I've had with the town, their board apparently has chosen to amend their comprehensive plan or will amend their comprehensive plan to allow multiple family out at that location. With regard to the development proposal we have before you, this is not the first time that the applicant, Paul Olson, has undertaken a renovation of this nature. In 2010, he and his wife, Cheryl, received approval from the county and town of Aurora for a zone change from RS20 to RM to renovate the old Auroraville School on the west side of State Route 29 to a 4-unit dwelling, which that project, by the way, has proven to be a valued success for the town. Staff has reviewed this request and is supportive of the adaptive reuse of the old school building. While the Planning and Zoning Committee will be making a formal recommendation on this request later, we are recommending approval of the zone change from AG to RM to convert the school to a multifamily dwelling consisting of up to 13 dwellings along with the detached garage as noted in the report that you have before you.
And then at this time, Mr. Olson, if there's any rebuttal to any of the comments that were made or any information you'd like corrected, now's the time.
I just want to reiterate, I talked to Tim when he stopped at the mill a week or so ago. We don't take Section 8 vouchers. This is not a HUD program, a WIC program. We have a lady that interviews the applicants, it happens to be my wife, and we don't hold any discrimination, but we need people that can live with each other in these type of environments and that take care of it. We're hoping that there'll be one of our family members, they'll be living there and taking care of the place. My sister does all the outside lawn mowing and maintaining. If you go by the Auroraville School and the bridge in Auroraville, she does all this. I don't think there's gonna be any problem. But we expect good people, and the people that have contacted us, and I will tell you, I probably get probably one every 2 weeks looking for places to rent. There's nothing left in Poisippi per se, and I know there's no banks anymore in Poisippi. There's a Dollar General, that was a concern, but a lot of people travel to Wapaka in the valley to work, and there's just need for good quality housing that's reasonable. We could get a lot more money for our rent and our facilities, but our philosophy is we want good people to stay. We don't want people in and out and jumping ship all the time.
Okay.
Thank you.
And now, I may be just going a little out of traditional order, but we've heard a lot of comments on this application. And before we transition to our regular meeting, now would be the time if you had any other questions or concerns that would need to be answered.
One of the statements that was made by one of the people against it was that the town board did not formally meet. Is that true?
I've been informed by John that the town board and that did meet on this and that they were in agreement. That's the directive and the, you know,
Was there a posting in regards to this?
that I don't know. I don't control the town.
We can only go by the,
Yeah.
There's no way.
one second. And the only reason I brought this up is we probably haven't had this many comments on an application in a while, and sometimes those comments spur more conversation or more questions. And when we get to the regular meeting, that's just for us to make a decision. So I wanted just to give the committee, and I don't know,
I wouldn't have a concern.
okay. If you got some information that could help Supervisor King with his question, sure.
To answer that question, no, there hasn't been a public posting, and the due diligence by the town has not been done. And if there was a board decision, it was without the public's input. So that's contrary to the comprehensive plan. And I think just one more comment. Even if you think that this is a good idea for the community and the community does not, we're also concerned at some point when the applicant sells this property, you have no control over who buys it. So then you're dealing with it over and over as this property turns over. We only have one opportunity to make a first impression here. And I don't see the need for rushing through this process because I think we all agree that there may be a need for multi-housing in Washington County, but this simply is not the right location. And because they're now I've learned they're one bedrooms, you know, I have even more concern. So I think we have to be prudent in our decision here. You have to be prudent. You have to take into consideration the will and desires of the community, which we have a huge investment from the standpoint of history
And we understand our role. Right, and I didn't mean to cut you off, and we're sort of going down a little bit of an unorthodox path as it is. But
the application is
right,
unorthodox.
right, but I just wanted, if you had any information to Supervisor King's question as far as the town
I talked
mean.
with the town chairman,
Okay.
and they did not have a meeting.
Okay.
They did not post it.
All right.
And they have really handed it off to you, so
All
they
right.
didn't have to deal with it.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna give a rebuttal to that, because we're on the agenda and it was posted, and my wife and I met with the town board, and so it was posted as on the agenda.
Okay, thank you. All right, so unless we have anything else, we're going to call the hearing portion of this meeting to a close. And someone want? Yeah, that's you. And then in just a second, we're going to call to order the regular meeting where we'll make a decision on these applications.